Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you are joining me. Today we are diving into the Enlightenment, a transformative period in history that revolutionized the foundation of societies. This era is marked by an incredible emphasis on reason, individual rights, and the questioning of traditional authority. Let's explore how these ideas emerged and their lasting impacts. The Enlightenment was a time when thinkers sought to apply reason to every aspect of human life, including politics, science, and ethics, during the late 17th to the late 18th centuries. The Enlightenment became the driving force behind many significant political revolutions, including the American Revolution of 1776 and the French Revolution in 1789. As people began to question the divine right of kings and seek a government that reflected their will. Enlightenment thinkers believed that human beings could understand the shape of their world through reason. They challenged the status quo, particularly the entrenched power of the monarchy and the church. The emphasis on reason led to a belief in natural rights, the idea that all individuals are born with fundamental rights that cannot be taken away, such as life, liberty, and property. These concepts laid the groundwork for modern democratic societies. The Enlightenment was deeply rooted in the achievements of the scientific revolution, which began in the 16th century. Thinkers like Galileo, Newton, challenged traditional views of the universe, promoting the idea that knowledge could be gained through observation and experimentation. The scientific revolution inspired Enlightenment philosophers to apply scientific methods to social and political issues. They began to analyze human behavior, society, and governance through the lens of reason and evidence, pushing against long held beliefs based on superstition and tradition. This period gave rise to modern philosophy as thinkers began to articulate new ideas about human existence, knowledge, and governance. A pivotal figure in this development was Rene Descartes, who famously stated, Cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, which underscored the importance of the individual's ability to think and question. Building on Descartes' ideas of rationalism and skepticism, Enlightenment philosophers engaged in vibrant debates about ethics, politics, and society. This intellectual firmament encouraged individuals to seek knowledge beyond the constraints of religion and tradition, emphasizing the power of reason as the source of authority. A central concept of the Enlightenment is the social contract. This theory posits that individuals consent to give up some freedoms in exchange for the protection of their rights by the government. The social contract suggests that legitimate authority comes from the consent of the governed. This was a radical departure from the prevailing belief in the divine right of kings. Enlightenment thinkers believe that government should be accountable to the people and that individuals have a right to challenge oppressive authority. Now, John Locke, an English philosopher, is often regarded as the foundational figure in the development of the social contract theory. In his influential work, Two Treatises of Government, Locke proposes that individuals are born with natural rights to life, liberty, and property. He argued that the primary role of government is to safeguard those rights, and that a legitimate government derives its authority from the consent of the governed, a concept known as popular sovereignty. Locke emphasized that individuals agree to form a government that is reasonable for protecting their rights. Crucially, he asserted that if a government fails to fulfill its obligation or violates the rights of the citizens, the people have not only the right but the duty to overthrow it. Jean Jacques Rousseau introduces the concept of the general will in his influential work, The Social Contract. He argued that true freedom is achieved when individuals submit their personal interests to the general will of the community. Rousseau believed that a legitimate government must reflect the collective will of the people, ensuring that everyone's rights are protected while maintaining social order. While Locke believed that individuals are inherently rational and capable of self governance, Rousseau here argued that humans are born noble but are corrupted by society. Rousseau emphasized the importance of the collective will, proposing that a legitimate government must reflect the general will of the people, whereas Locke focused on individual rights and the protection of personal property as the foundation of political authority. Another critical aspect of the Enlightenment thought was the authority of government. Two key figures of this discourse were Thomas Hobbes and Montesquieu, who offered contrasting views on the nature of governance and power. Now, witnessing the societal breakdown that occurred during the English Civil War, which lasted from 1642 to 1651, led Hobbes to conclude in his best-known work, Leviathan, that without strong centralized authority, human beings would descend into anarchy and conflict. He argued that to avoid this chaos, individuals must surrender their rights to an absolute sovereign who would maintain order and prevent societal collapse. Hobbes believed that an absolute monarchy was the most effective form of government, as it could provide the stability necessary for a functioning society. His views highlight the tension between individual liberty and the need for order by emphasizing the necessity of a powerful government to enforce the peace. Now, Montesquieu, on the other hand, argued that the separation of powers within the government was the safeguard against tyranny. In his book, The Spirit of the Laws, he analyzed various forms of governments and their effects on society. Montesquieu proposed that a government should be divided into three branches, the executive, legislative, and judicial, to prevent any one branch from gaining too much power. Rights and liberties were not only political, but also personal and civil. Enlightenment thinkers emphasized the importance of individual rights, which led to the development of ideas about civil liberties and human rights. A notable figure in this discourse was Voltaire. Now, Voltaire was a fierce advocate of civil rights, particularly freedom of speech and religious tolerance. He famously stated, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." Voltaire used satire and wit to criticize the French government and the Catholic Church, exposing their hypocrisy and advocating for reason over dogma. His writings inspired movements for civil rights across Europe and America, and he championed the need for personal freedoms in a just society. The Enlightenment also made significant contributions to economic thought, primarily through the work of Adam Smith, who is often referred to as the father of modern economics. In his landmark book, The Wealth of Nations, published in 1776, Adam Smith argued that the principles of laissez faire economics, advocating that economies function best when individuals pursue their self interest within a competitive market, while mercantilism focused on accumulating wealth through government control of trade and the belief that a nation's power depended on its wealth. Smith argued that true economic prosperity arises from individuals pursuing their central interest, self-interest in a competitive marketplace, which ultimately benefits society as a whole through the efficient allocation of resources and the promotion of innovation. Smith's ideas laid the groundwork for a modern capitalism, emphasizing the importance of free markets, competition, and minimal government intervention in the economy. The Enlightenment left an indelible mark on political and social structures worldwide. Its principles of democracy, individual rights, and scientific inquiry influenced the development of modern governments and legal systems. Many of the rights we enjoy today, such as freedom of speech, religion, and the press, have roots in Enlightenment thought. Furthermore, the emphasis on reason and evidence continues to drive scientific progress and philosophic inquiry. So the Enlightenment was a transformative period, that not only questioned established norms, but also thought to build a more equitable and rational society. The ideas generated during this time continue to resonate today, shaping our understanding of governance, rights, and human potential. Let's think about ways in which the Enlightenment has had the most significant impact on your world today. Thanks so much for joining us.